Chapter 2. Dangerous Wounds. Immediately after the triumph, Ariphone's wounds that had been healing grew red and angry, and the poison spread to his whole body. When he walked, he no longer moved beautifully, but dragged along as though every step hurt him. When they brought him food, he turned his head away. Flavius's mother attended the wounds and dressed them with healing herbs every day, for the domina in the house must almost be a physician. "But he won't get well," said the old nurse, Mara, shaking her head. "That kind always dies. It's his heart that is broken." "But I don't want him to die," Flavius pleaded. "He's mine, and I don't want him to die." "All very well, little master, but your wishing can't help. It's death in the way." And old Mara pottered off, shaking her head like a bird of ill omen. Every time his mother dressed the wounds, Flavius stood by. He handed her the oil and wine and watched every herb she put in the poultice. "Are you sure you've got the right ones?" he asked. "Yes, dear," said his mother. "I hope Ariphone will get well. Your father would feel dreadful if you lost him." Ariphone never thanked Domina Tertia for these ministrations. He merely let her do it while he stared into space with those strange blue eyes of his. Many times a day Flavius would go back into the room and stand by Ariphone gazing at him. "Do you feel better?" he would ask. But though Ariphone would sometimes look at him, he never answered. He was so weak now that he did not rise from his bed on the floor, but lay there all day. Then one morning Domina Tertia was ill with a headache. She told old Mara to care for Ariphone. But when Mara came with the basin of hot water and the oil and herbs, Flavius pushed her away. "You shan't do it," he said. "You think he's going to die, and you'll put the evil eye on him." Flavius was afraid of the evil eye. He always wore a small chain around his neck with little half-moons hung to it and other amulets to protect him. His mother, father, everybody believed in the evil eye. "The foul furies take ye," said Mara angrily, "saying such evil of your old nurse." "I can put on the poultice," declared Flavius. Then he washed the wounds even more gently than his mother had done. "I've watched mother every time. It's not the custom for a master to wait on a slave. Who ever heard of such a thing?" said Mara. "I don't care. He's my pedagogue, isn't he?" So Mara set down the basin in a huff and went away. Flavius took off the bandages from Ariphone's chest and arm. When he saw the angry wounds, he clicked his tongue as he had heard his mother do. Then he washed the wounds even more gently than his mother had done. He was so afraid of hurting Ariphone. Next he put on the wine and then the oil, and lastly the poultice. Oh, very, very carefully. He was so busy, so bent on his task that he did not notice how Ariphone was watching him, nor did he see the slow smile that came to his face. But when Flavius finished, Ariphone suddenly lifted himself and kissed him, not on the hand as a slave should, but on the forehead. Flavius was astonished and delighted. "Are you better?" he asked eagerly. "Yes, child, better," answered Ariphone. "Oh, I didn't know you could speak Latin. Father said you couldn't." "I do many things your father knows not," said Ariphone. Flavius was remembering once, when he was ill and the doctor wouldn't let him have any water, how parched and dry his mouth felt. He hurried off, got his own cup, and filled it with water at the fountain in the back garden. Ariphone drank to the last drop. Just then old Mara came in to clean up. "And you'll kill him now, sure," she complained, "givin' water to a fever." Flavius looked frightened, but Ariphone spoke. "Never before have I heard that pure water was poison." All that day, with the persistence of a bird bringing food for its young, Flavius brought water to Ariphone. Water, 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 until Ariphone could drink no more and said, "Have mercy, Flavius." "Mummius?" And mother, lying in her room, wondered who it could be who had sent that low musical laugh through the house. Next morning when Domina Tertia came and took off the bandages, she was astonished at the improvement of the wounds. "I did it," answered Flavius, much puffed up. "You'd better let me put on the poultice, mother, for I am the only one who knows how." Then Ariphone spoke to Tertia. "Your son, Domina, has a new remedy." Tertia was startled and a little frightened, realizing that Ariphone had understood everything they had said. "I think he means the water," put in Flavius. "I gave him lots and lots." "It was not the water," said Ariphone. And Tertia, watching him, suddenly realized how beautiful he was when the stony stare went out of his eyes. Tertia could not imagine what Mummius would think of such a performance, but she was wise. She knew if she was to keep her son safe with this strange and vengeful slave, she must let Flavius do as he wished. "Very well, my son," she said gently. "You shall dress the wounds. I will watch that you do everything properly."